Okay, third time's the charm, apparently. Well, that's so odd. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. Today is Tuesday, April the 8th, 2025. But what is so wild is that twice before now, trying to go live, it was saying unable, and I didn't do anything any differently. So what I just got when I'm asking really quickly in my head, what was that about? I think it's more issues with the sun. It has to be. Good morning, Journey into it. Hey, girl, we got to Zoom very soon so we can figure out something. Unless you're available right now, then you can come in. You have the number already. Just join me if you'd like, and we can just chat about it right now out here in the open. I think that, and I think I saw what you've been doing on your page. I love what you're doing. I'm wondering if we could even do like something on YouTube to that effect, only make it like a live shopping event, right? Where we show everything that you have to offer, and folks say, okay, I want that, and you know what I mean. I don't know, but I kind of got that vibe from what you were doing, and I just wondered if that would be something that you'd be open to. We could either do it live on YouTube, we could do it on this channel, we could do it on Sassy Seer Sheila, we could even do it on Journey into It, because I'm sure that you and I both have. I know there's a lot of crossover between the two channels, but there is also folks that were subscribed to Sassy Seer Sheila that never did come over to Journey into It, or never subscribed at Journey into It, didn't come to New Light Streaming Love, just things like that. So if you want to do something like that, let me know. But I was sharing that it took me 3 times to get the live going through, and I couldn't figure out why. And I didn't do anything different on this third try. And I really have this feeling that it has something to do with what's been going on between the earth and the sun. Um, because there's a lot of electromagnetic field um, fluctuations, because it just said unable to stream or unable to go live on YouTube, and I was like, why? It's telling me it's unable, but it's not telling me why. Yeah, that sounds good. Would be fun. Can't hop on at the moment. Okay, getting ready to leave for work. Okay. Well, just to catch everybody up, in case you were wondering what that's all about. And I did tell folks when I saw what you were doing, uh, on the Facebook. Okay, this must be meant for you specifically, because this came out yesterday and it's coming out again. TVs and phones are acting up. Okay, that does explain it then, because that's what I thought. That's what it came through immediately. But this card, now you just watched me. I shuffled it and then I started shuffling it the other way. So it's not like, and this came out yesterday: surrender to complete healing. Open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. And I yesterday when this came out, you see, I have, even with my own languaging, been continuing to say, well, there's so much damage that I've done to this body that it's taking a while, right? This is the way I've been holding it. This is the way I've been languaging it. But I also know that it can happen all at once. I just know that with all of me. And yet it hasn't been what I'm speaking into reality. And so the fact that this came out again today with you here, and right now it's just you and me. At least that's what it's looking like from my chat, that there's only one of us here. And if you're still here with me, that's you. So I feel like this is a direct message to us both, actually, right? Oh, okay. So Lisa and I both this morning, too. Now, see, oh, wow, this is huge. Okay, so I was in the kitchen making my coffee, getting my kratom ready for the day when Lisa woke, when Lisa came out. And so we sat and chatted for a few minutes. And so there we are going to be having a conversation when she feels better and up to it. As we already know, she's agreed to all of that. But this is in specific to some realization that she's having, some realization that I've been having in regards to the level of pain and the denial of that pain that we've both been through, worked through, carry on a moment by moment basis, right? So, in some ways, I think this is maybe completely connected to that. Oh, wow. Okay. So when that conversation takes place, especially if it can happen before your um, surgery, that would be lovely if you could join us for that. Wow, because I know it has not been lost on me that um, there's a certain level of constant pain that I work with every day for myself. Snow Leopard, The Watcher came out. That's very interesting. Yesterday, it was again pointed out the frequency of my voice in specific and particular. Um, there's been a lot around that, so I can't wait to find out what the snow leopard has to offer us today. It's beautiful blue, and I was just sitting here earlier contemplating because there's a lot of blue in my beautiful spread there that was gifted to me by Lisa's mother about 2 years ago. And the light field came out. This one's from the Journey of Love Oracle. So there's a lot of blue in this. Blue surrounding me today. Blue is the color that I chose for the drapes. So very interesting. Blue has always been my favorite color. I don't know this for a fact, but I feel as though it's associated with Gabriel, which I know I carry that energy. So interesting. So we'll have to see what comes up about that. There is an awful lot surrounding me right now about believing what we're told versus, oh wow, and I just got really a wave of that euphoric dizziness I spoke about yesterday. Um, believing what we're told. Wow. The unknown is your friend. Lean in to embrace what's next. And it is a whole bunch of blue there too, isn't it? Oh, you're coming in with me. Oh, yay. All right. Y'all, Crystal's getting ready to join me up in here. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. And there comes Journey into it in the house.
Hi.
I'm so glad you could join me.
Yeah, I finished eating. I got to make me some ice, and I was like, let me go ahead and hop on here. And I kept hearing Quinley's voice. She was aggravating me yesterday. I guess she had seen some of my old videos on YouTube or something. She was like, come on, let's journey into it. And I kept hearing that, and I was like, let me hop on here real quick.
I'm so glad that you did. I'm so glad that you did. I love it when you can join me for this. So, as you were coming in, the next one that came out is The Unknown is Your Friend. Look at all this blue.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I just feel with all of me because this one was our card for yesterday. And the fact that just as you popped in here and let me know that you were listening, this one came right out of the deck. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's a huge message to all three of us, actually.
Yeah.
Myself,
Um,
you, and Lisa.
what I heard or seen when you were talking about that and like the pain, the amount of pain that we carry and stuff like that. What really shifted that perspective for me was when the doctor was like, I think you need to be honest about the amount of pain you're in. You know, that to me is not only, and I told you about the look we gave each other.
Right,
That to me is not only like a physicality, like that's also him sending me a message that I needed to hear. You know, it's not just physical pain, emotional pain, you know.
right.
So I've been taking a look at that in a different way.
Well, that's okay. So, see, to me, that's another synchronicity because what you may or may not have heard me say is that Lisa and I just this morning had that very conversation. And she wants to have that conversation as a conscious conversation because we both have had to, and I'm using those words, had to, or at least that's the message we received, had to continue to, in order to function in this society. It's not as though you can just lay it down and lay out, right? I mean,
Yep.
I again, 10 years, more than 10 years at death's door with all of that pain. And even coming back from that, even knowing all of that as I sit here right now, I'm being made aware that there's still some denial of that pain. And that's what we were talking about. Because Lisa had the exact same thing. This has come up for her quite a bit in the last little bit here. So, wow. Okay. So that's what's up on Earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's very clear to me too that this message of surrender to complete healing. Okay. So this has been in my field for more than just the last 2 days. Because a brand new local friend, she's brand new. Uh, I say that because she just
Hey,
joined our wise woman circle. Good morning, sweetie heart.
good morning.
She just joined our wise woman circle, and she's dealing with an injury that there's a lot of pain, right? And as she too is sharing with her doctor her truth about working with it energetically, he told her, well, I'm a follower of Jesus, so I don't really buy into all that. And she said, but didn't Jesus heal energetically? And, there's a bit of denial surrounding that, right? And she had said, I wish I had thought about it quick enough to say, she said, because she's aware of the quote as well as I am, that Christ said to all of his followers, you will go on to do these things I do and more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a message to humanity. Period. End of story. And we, all of us, especially folks like you and me and Lisa, we know this, we hear this, we feel this, but on some level of me, I haven't accepted this, right? Or this wouldn't keep coming up, right? And that's what I was just saying as you joined this morning. It's one thing to know it when you know it, but really getting all of that here to say
Mm-hmm.
it, to have it sink in, to know it.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just flashed the name of this channel, New Light Streaming Love. And
Yep.
that play on words, there was a reason we chose that.
Yep.
Yeah, we know things, but it's not really fully seated yet. If it had been fully seated, it would be different. But I'm ready. I'm ready for that fully seating.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm hearing the words like active response to that. Like, there's got to be an action that we must take to move forward in that. It's not like, just kind of sitting in stillness and it just happens.
No, exactly right there. You're right. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. There has to be, and this card just came out. Power,
Mm,
right? Um, as you were saying those words, and I'm gonna find exactly what that is because that's one of the pillars. This is the Alchemy Elementals deck, and oh my word, it's this card. Oh my goodness, there's a lot behind this. I feel okay. So according to the book itself, the power card ties into the theme of discernment because the journey of power is all about learning to differentiate between false power and true power. True power serves what is best for others in order for them to adapt and evolve, expand, grow, and amplify. It is the ability to lift people up and to show them what is possible. True power is vulnerable, open, and transparent. It support I want to cry right now because I know that's what all of us have been doing on this channel. We're just being open and vulnerable and transparent with what we know, what we don't know, and asking to be shown what we need to know. Oh, wow. This is so powerful right here. It supports that which makes a difference, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of many. When people or institutions, oh my God, try to impose their will onto other beings or to enslave them or infuse them with fear, lack, or division, that, my dear, is false power. That is straight up misuse of power, and true power will not bow down to that shit. When this card appears in your spread, you know the spirits are offering insight into your own personal journey in the realms of power and are inviting you to refine your discernment accordingly. Holy wow. Oh, wow, Crystal.
I feel like that is exactly what I'm aligned to right there.
Yes, me too. Oh my gosh. The elephant card was the animal oracle for yesterday.
Wow.
Wow. The last, I don't know, 3 or 4 days of readings have been so powerful for me. I can't even express to you just how powerful they have been for me personally. I would love to hear from anyone else who has, tuned in, and that there's not been a whole lot of folks live, and that's okay because, I haven't been here, so folks aren't really used to coming back here live every day again. But oh my gosh, because I don't do it for everybody else, I do it for me first and foremost. And I always feel like those who show up are meant to be here because there's something for them. So the very fact that of all days you tuned in today, I don't know that you are adding your power to all of these cards, if you ask me, and they're meant for both of us in a very huge
Yeah.
way. Lisa too, by the way. I cannot unsee that conversation that she and I had this morning about that power, and the fact that you're telling me now that the doctor said those words to you.
Yeah. Funny too, as you was reading the elephant card, I've been seeing a lot of videos about elephants. Yeah.
Too. I said that yesterday.
In which that's not typical. Like that's not something that usually shows up on my, you know. So like that's weird. Like I didn't think nothing of it right then, obviously, but
Well, there's
now
an
I'm
awful
like,
lot
oh,
about synchronicity that's coming in right now for me personally because that video I sent to you of Lee Harris and his April update for the energy, he has not been in my consciousness. I mean, I've heard of him. I know of him. I used to listen to him religiously a few years ago. And then for like the last, I don't know, 3 years or so, um, not even a thought to check out his videos. And then all of a sudden, there he was in my field, and I was nudged to take a listen. And I even shared that, like I said, I shared it with you. You had never heard of him. And that's also proof to me that you and I hadn't talked about him at all. And that's about how long we've known each other. And I talked about it in the live on Sunday. And that new friend came over Sunday. As a matter of fact, I didn't realize it, but she was sitting on the front porch as I was finishing up my live on Sunday. And as we were beginning to go over her invisible garment, she, I said something about his, I don't know if I said something or she said something, but she said, "Oh my God, I've listened to it 3 times this morning." And she did not hear that. She did not know I was doing a live even. She just knew I was expecting her. And so she was just waiting on the porch because she thought maybe I was in the bathroom or something. And, just so much about synchronicity right now. And so I'm very attuned at the moment to seeing those synchronicities. So the very fact that you too are seeing things about elephants, and I want, oh my gosh, and it opened up right to because I wanted to read to you what it said about elephants. And there is a time to step forward and lead, and it is now. Be the leader in your own life. If you want something achieved, take the lead yourself. Be the example that others will follow. Do not lead by force, but instead by inspiration. So, okay, and isn't that almost to a word what this talked about too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just being open and vulnerable and transparent about what one is moving through and seeing for their own selves can be very inspirational. I'm curious now. Let's see what the snow leopard has to say. Because the key word for this one is the watcher. Take the high road. Do not sink to the level of low vibration. Observe the situation closely before acting. Being silent is an option. Ethics is the number one concern. It is best not to continually draw attention to yourself just for the sake of filling up your ego. A little mystery is a good thing. Well, I've always said that's not what these are about. I don't care if you and I are the only two people that ever show up to this reading, because it's never been about what everybody else is doing or what they can. It's for me. And if something comes of it, I feel like that's a win-win. But if it has an effect on me, which I already know my voice affects me, so all of these conversations are good for me because I want to see all of me and work with whatever it is that comes up for me to I don't want to shy away from things. Wow. The mythos for this card is: in the valley surrounded by high rocky mountains lived the people in the high passes within the rocks, between the sky and the land. Above the flapping of the prayer flags lived the spirits of the mountains. Some of these spirits were bodhisattvas, the compassionate energies that helped people take the more right and ethical path. These spirits took the form of the most elusive and beautiful creature that lived among the high places, the snow leopard. The snow leopards watched the people, yet were very rarely seen themselves. Their paw prints might have been occasionally found on a ridge overlooking the valley, but they were not spotted. These watchers of the skies rewarded those who helped others. It was said, too, that the snow leopards, ever observing, would place obstacles in the path of those who did evil in order for them to realize their mistakes and change. And if something was not right, the leopards would wail mournfully for all to hear. Well, now, what's very interesting about that, too, is that that is exactly what the elephant from yesterday talked about, because the elephant was also what they chose to speak on for the mythos, just like this was the mythos, was the Hindu god Ganesha.
Mm.
And what he represents: obstacles. He puts obstacles in the way for to learn from, or he also removed obstacles so that the path could be clear. So very interesting to me that these are carrying over one from the other.
Yeah.
To say spotting a snow leopard is difficult is an understatement. These mysterious animals live high in the most remote mountainous areas of the Himalayas, Russia, Mongolia, and Western China. And it is only recently, with the advent of sophisticated motion sensor cameras, that we have been able to see decent photographs of these animals in the wild. A member of the Panthera genus, snow leopards are uniquely adapted to a cold, harsh environment through having small, rounded ears to keep the heat in, lustrous, multi-layered fur, and a thick tail filled with fat that they wrap around their face and body when they sleep to keep the wind out. They have incredibly large paws for their size, covered in thick fur, which allow them to walk more easily on soft snow without sinking. Snow leopards do not roar like lions, but instead vocalize in mews, chuffs, and most notably a wailing sound that echoes for long distances. The magic. Snow leopard magic is all about the power of being the silent watcher. Western society is an extroverted one with the emphasis on the individual and on being seen. Yet there is much advantage to examining things quietly and observing before making decisions, taking your time and observing a situation before you decide the next steps is wise. Snow leopard magic is mysterious and ethical and can be used when you need assistance in taking the righteous path. Very interesting because over the last 2 days, see, I had a nudge to record something yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure, while I was getting ready for the day. And I did. I turned on Zoom and I recorded it. But when I went to listen to it afterward, I'd neglected to pull the microphone forward, so you couldn't hear me at all,
Hmm.
all. And so I tried to re-record it today, and you can't really capture the magic after something like that. However, it was all about really just what this is here, observing and not taking things at face value, not just believing what one is told because you think this person over here knows something or
Hmm.
is more educated than you or has access, because you really don't know. You don't know them, you don't know their situation, you don't know any of that. And being an observer of, let's just say, something else, and then moving towards educating oneself in regards to that, I don't know, there's something about that right there that plays into what it was that I was trying to speak to, apparently. So the symbology, eyes on prayer flags, cat in snow, leopard footprints in snow. And they say that the status of this cat is vulnerable. Well, and that plays into the whole point of here of being vulnerable and transparent. Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Mark. I'm so glad you could join us.
I think that in itself is a pretty important part of, at least my journey and what I've seen from yours as well. Like, really important.
Yes, being open to seeing oneself actually makes you vulnerable.
Yeah. That's
And
vulnerability, just that frequency of vulnerability in itself, you know. I
right.
think that it just opens a connection with other people that a lot of people can't, they can't align to that. I don't know how else to explain it, but Like
No,
that's
I
what I'm
feel what you're
feeling from
saying.
the.
Yes. That's why for me, and part of what I was speaking to was how there's so many folks who have just believed what has been said about our current president without doing any kind of due diligence to see what context was this said in, or doing any kind of looking into what is being reported upon, right? That was part and parcel what that whole thing was.
Well, that kind of went on the whole time last time. But something I have realized too, they don't do that to just him. They do
No,
that to any and every person in power.
that's
Like
correct. You're
they're going to
absolutely
try to
right.
twist and turn things to make it portray something that they want it to portray.
No,
So,
exactly correct. And that's the other thing I was speaking to. And what I think a lot of folks are connecting with is the authenticity, because that being vulnerable speaks to a person's authenticity. Are they being authentic? Because if someone is laying things bare, look, this is where I'm at, and I won't deny that. That's a level of authenticity that is not often seen.
I don't know about that with him. I've got a different
Yeah.
view of him going. I feel like I thought about this morning. I woke up from a dream and I was like, it's literally just Hollywood. Literally just
Well,
Hollywood.
that's true.
It,
That is
we're
true.
we're trying to views. We're trying to I don't know, we're trying to view reality in a way that they're pushing Hollywood content, and we can't see that.
I guess
So
that's
it's
true.
Hollywood, like
When
it's a
I speak
show.
to
It's literally a show.
Right. For me, when I speak to the authenticity, he's certainly more himself than any other politician I've ever seen. They're so polished and so not at all who they actually are. I've seen Trump in some other context before he was ever. That's why I laughed and told my dad that it was a joke that they weren't going to let this man be president. He's not that kind of,
I don't know.
level.
The more that I've watched him through the years, and the more that I've watched even like old videos of him and clips and stuff of him, he's primed and primed for the TV.
Well,
The
now that's
word,
true. No,
the
you're right
word,
about that.
and that to me is it's not authenticity. It
Ah,
it's someone who's coming on and there he's I swear he's wearing a mask. He's wearing a mask. Like I
well,
don't know
some of
how
the
to
thing, I
put it.
guess
He's
I
wearing
was
a mask.
speaking to some of the ways that everybody, there's a lot of folks out there that are just so, ah, the vitriol, the level of vitriol,
Yeah.
and without any sort of diving into what was actually said and the context.
Yeah.
I was speaking most specifically then and now to the comment, because it came in my field again this morning, the comment about grabbing women, right? And I went and found the actual clip of that. And because Russell Brand right now, just 20 hours ago, did a live stream where he is now being accused of some things in the UK and he's facing prison. That was the title of
Oh,
it.
really?
Yes, because they're going after him yet and again. And I went and found the actual statement that was made and the context that it was being made, and what was actually said. He was absolutely correct in saying. My own sister was sharing with me that she was a she was a hairdresser in a very ritzy, rich portion of Florida that catered to millionaire wives and mistresses and things of that nature. And she said that they were loaded, Sure, with all sorts of gals that would come in there to primp themselves to be ready to meet their significant other. Most and she said the fact that they absolutely would throw themselves and do things, allow things that they would never stand for from someone else. So the fact, and that is exactly what Russell Brand said in the. I stopped the video at 6 minutes and 31 seconds because his words were that women would throw themselves at him because of his fame, because of who he was. They would allow things that they would never allow from another man or another being to treat them in that sort of, and that is what he was saying in that clip. He was making the observation that these women would allow anything up to and including walking up and just grabbing them by the whatever and taking them off, and that he, it was a statement really of how these folks would allow that, but it was taken, just like you said, out of context
Yeah.
and made to be something else. And that's really what I was speaking to.
Yeah.
and,
Oh, I
and
get it.
right.
I've seen it for myself in
And
many, 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 many circumstances.
yeah, me too. I've
But
seen
like
it.
I said, it's across the board. It's not just him. Like
Right. No,
they've
you're
done it
right.
for, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And that is what I was speaking to.
Yeah.
There is a
The
level.
circumstances with what he says is just more fueled because there's that super divided,
Well,
left
and
versus
also,
right stuff going on. You know my view. They're
yes,
all the
I do.
same. They're all
No,
the same.
no, you're absolutely right. Um, but there's also a level of because I did see another clip that been making the rounds lately of Elizabeth Warren talking about when folks are looking into fraud and abuse, and uh, that there's a level of outrage, you got to wonder what's behind that level of outrage. She was saying that, and yet that is exactly what is happening right now with this whole thing with Doge, with the whole thing about hands off and all of that. And so for me, it's the same sort of thing. Um, what is take a beat, become the watcher, do some due diligence into, don't just make an assumption about something because it's not playing into whatever your thoughts and feelings are about something.
Mm-hmm.
It's more confirmation bias than anything else, right? Which goes to my own level of authenticity. I want to see my own level of vulnerability. I want to see all of me. I don't want to lie to myself anymore. I've been there, done that, thank you. And it took me to a level of illness that I don't want to repeat. That is not the way forward for me. And so that's really all I'm speaking to in regards to those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm gonna continue listening. I gotta gather my things and
gotta
head
jump
out the
off. Well,
door.
I'm so glad you came, and I'm glad too that you'll be joining us, I hope, for that
Yeah.
conversation whenever
Yeah.
Lisa's
Hopefully.
ready.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Well, have a great day, my friend.
You too.
Okay, so to continue on here, the next card that wanted to jump out here is the light field, card number 63. You are very open to the other side. The veil that separates the worlds is very thin for you. You know, I've changed the way I hold that whole veil thing myself. There's a tendency to put the veil out there. And maybe there are some, I don't know. But I now recognize that there are also veils that I've erected. And this speaks to why the level of consciousness where folks aren't able to cross a line and maybe grasp a concept of something has to do with how many veils are within. So for me, I see there very well may be some out there, but I've noticed for myself that there's an awful lot of veils in here. And as they thin, as they, in some cases, I'd like to think that they've dropped, but maybe not completely dropped. They've only thinned because I there, there's, I'm certainly not enlightened. I'm maybe a little more enlightened than I was, which would indicate that the veil has thinned, or some of them have, right? So I'm going to repeat this. You are very open to the other side. The veil that separates the worlds is very, very fine for you, for there is much love in your heart, and love exists beyond all barriers, including those of time, distance, and even death. If you wish to communicate with those that have passed on, do so through your heart. If you want to communicate energetically with your beloved, even though you are separated in physical location, then you can do so now. If your psychic abilities are opening and you need confirmation or reassurance, accept this message of guidance as being such. Those who have passed can be received fully and peacefully into the light, and your love guides them home. The messages that you sense in your own heart that come from unconditional love that uplift and reassure can be trusted. The light is so close to you, beloved, it surrounds you as glow from within. This oracle brings you guidance that you are connecting with a field of awareness that is real, and that you are protected by light as you do so. It is confirming that there is nothing for you to fear, and that those that have passed on or will pass on in future will always be safely held in love. It is also confirmation that there are very real bonds that connect you to your loved ones, past, present, and future, that are beyond the confines of time and space. When I'm in love, I am not afraid to be any part of me. I let it all be free for the world to know, and when I'm ready to love, I will create a reflection of who I am, and we will shed our fears, complete our past, and trust love to be our guide. Ooh, I love that. Well, I truly have, at this point in my journey, have keep showing myself that if there is something scary and hairy and gnarly out there, it's another portion of me that's being asked to be loved into wholeness. As I have had that experience of something terrifying entering my room and doing a whole number around my bed, and I could hear it in my ears. I didn't dare open my eyes. Um, and what I experienced was loving that being into wholeness. I felt that an integration. Oh, but that being denied being part of me, you don't know who I am, is what it said back to me. You don't know who I am. I'm not a part of you. And it did its level best to terrify me. And I will not deny that I was frightened enough that I wasn't opening my eyes. Didn't want to actually see it. Feeling it and hearing it was quite enough. But luckily, I had some guidance from my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, who had received it from Anelia Benz, that moving over into fear is actually consent to being afraid. Being frightened and moving over into full blown fear is two completely different things for me, obviously. So I don't know. I'd love to hear from others of what you think about that. But for me, it made sense to me that anything that comes into my field, if all comes from within, is a part of me and is there for a reason. I now really feel like I was just telling Lisa this morning, I don't feel like we make mistakes. Oh, I could label it as a mistake in the moment if I want to. Uh, I'm freely allowed to do that if I wish. I have done it on many occasions. But with a little time and a little distance, I see where, oh no, that was exactly what needed to happen. I got so much out of that, right? So, quite frankly, I mean, I tell you, and getting to that level of awareness for myself, that is so freeing. It creates a level of peace within my own field that I've not ever known before. So, our final, no, it's not our final, we have one more. This is from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. And I was saying earlier that quite a lot of blue in today's reading. The unknown is your friend. Learn to embrace what's next. This is a quote from Jack Kerouac. What is that feeling when you're driving away from people and they recede on the plane till you see their specks dispersing? It's the too huge world vaulting us in, and it's goodbye. But we lean forward to the next crazy venture beneath the skies. The message of this card. Stand on the shore of what you think you know and feel the unfamiliar enticing you forward. Up ahead, just over the horizon, there is a glimmer of foreign territory. Be filled with the spirit of adventure and inspired to let go of the familiar. Turn within and connect with what you want to carry with you. Take only that which is most essential, aware that life is on your side and the unknown is your friend. Hear the calling, muster your courage, and go for it. Wow, that's the second time today I've heard that message. The dream symbol. Uh, Foreign. It says the dream symbol of foreign country, language, or person. If you dream of a foreign country, language, or person, you are connecting with an aspect of yourself. Wow. That's what I just got through sharing about that frightening situation that entered my bedroom, wasn't it? Very much this card. Wow, you're connecting with an aspect of yourself you haven't yet encountered. When you expand your horizons and remove yourself from your day to day life to explore new terrain within yourself, you can bring back a wealth of information and perspective to benefit all. As you evolve, you may feel unfamiliar in your own skin. Oh, that's a true statement. never, never heard truer. You are no longer who you used to be, and not yet who you are becoming. Wow, that's a true statement, too. There's a mantra associated with this card. I am exhilarated as I leap into the wild divine. There was a time, and I shared it when the channel was still Conscious Conversation Central. There was a time where I had some difficulty distinguishing the difference between anxiety of some sort of fear of something and excitement or the idea of an adventure, right? And I think actually now, as I'm recounting this and feeling back into that, it's a little of both fear of the unknown and adventure for the new. And since I now have adopted the feeling that I can't make mistakes no matter what, it's just, I'm going to see it all as a new way of moving into the unknown. Wow, I love that. So the last card that wanted to be read was the fairies, and it's card 29, which is an 11, Ta'om the poet. And the key words for this card are clear sight, poetry, erotic energy, laughter, not getting into serious mischief. I want to say we had him just recently, but I'm not quite sure. For quite a while, as I looked at Ta'om's portrait, I really didn't have a very clear idea of his character. He looks so serious, so pensive, so thoughtful. But that wasn't the energy I felt coming from him at all. He had me baffled and fooled. Then my son, also a member of the Oracle discussion group, looked at him and noted, but he's wearing a mask. He's laughing at us. He likes to speed ahead of us, then stand inside a tree. Wow, my nose is really itching at the moment. So there's something important about this right now. Oh my goodness. Ooh, what is that about? Somebody tickling the end of my nose? I think so. He likes to speed ahead of us, then stand inside a tree and watch us go by, thinking up mischief for us to fall into. Then he flows ahead like a river, but much faster up over the hills and lies in wait for us. That felt right. But Ta'om looked at me with such wounded dignity that I almost got confused again. Then he started laughing and dashed off. I wondered some more about him, and one of the other fairies said, he's a fine traveling companion if you have a taste for adventure, bawdy songs, high flights of poetic fancy, and very down-to-earth observations. A fine, fine fella. Ta'om's boundless curiosity leads him into some strange places, and he is quite happy to take us there with him. Well, boy, that really goes with the unknown is your friend, doesn't it? Wow. Sure does. Quite happy to take us there with him. Ta'om's wings, like ours, are neatly folded at his back and not readily visible. He is still learning to use them properly and thinks he is better with them than he really is. He wants to encourage us to unfold our wings and doesn't hesitate to lead us into situations where we almost have to fly, metaphorically sometimes, in order to survive. When I was young, I think it was he who encouraged me to climb up a lot of trees and high buildings. I couldn't easily get down, and I know it was he who encouraged my son to do similar things. He is very fond of children. Like him, they are usually willing to try anything. Ta'am has a poetic spirit, which involves much more than just the writing of rhymes. It is about being able to see things as they really are. And in that reality, to recognize all beauty, even the beauty of necessity and difficulty. Wow, I'm being flashed right now. My experience that I had where I was observing myself as, I have no other word for it, but a planet eater. It was, I spent hours crying, witnessing the beauty and yet the destruction. I don't know how to else to explain it, but that's what this is evoking within me. It is about being able to see things as they really are, and in that reality, to recognize all beauty, even the beauty of necessity and difficulty. This is not an unthinking, reflexive, immature, quote, everything is for the best attitude, but an understanding of the beauty of what we learn from joy and sorrow, from ease and hardship, from pain and pleasure. Well, that also speaks to what Journey Intuit and I, and also Lisa and I, were just speaking on about walking with the level of pain and not being in denial of that pain, which is where all three of us are now being shown we have done. Wow. Ta'am also wants to show us how silly it is to be so very solemn about life. He laughs at himself, he laughs at us. Sometimes he laughs so hard he gets cowslip wine up his nose, and then everyone else laughs at him. He doesn't mind that as long as we are laughing. Ta'am is also the young apprentice shaman, barely beginning on the path, but with a boundless interest in all things magical and mystical. He'll try anything and encourage you to do so as well, but you might find it advisable to show a little more sense than he does sometimes. He plays the panpipes, but not very well. He also chases the dryads and has much more success at this. He has a lust for life, wine, females, and song. He claims he was born on the Blarney Stone, which I doubt, and consequently has a wonderful gift for words, which I don't doubt at all. He loves children, riders, and blithe, adventurous, uninhibited spirits. He is a storyteller with a great imagination and has the power to inspire others to action with his words. You know, Journey Intuit spoke specifically to that right as the power card came out. So very interesting that there also has to be action. It cannot just be, yep. When Ta'am turns up in a reading, his presence suggests that youthful spirits and energy abound. This is the time to do exciting things and to tackle projects you've been wanting to do, but for which you perhaps felt you didn't have the time or energy. It may even be the time to write about them, but you probably need to do them first. To often shows up in readings for people who have a talent and inclination for writing, poetry, adventure, fantasy, or anything else. Possibly the only thing he ever gets very serious about is his writing. And he will spend all the time he needs searching for just the right word, speaking and writing with conviction and sincerity, and the ability to persuade others are indicated by Ta'am's presence along with an outpouring of ideas. You may also find yourself, well, yeah, Mercury just went direct yesterday. It is still in its shadow, but very interesting that come up. You may also find yourself thinking about romance and deciding that you want more of it in your life. This doesn't necessarily mean looking for someone new. It might well involve putting some romantic fizz into a relationship that has become overly routine. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot in this reading today. Again, I feel as though it's been a complete continuation from the last several days because it's speaking about speaking here, right? I shared when I saw the blue how I'm made aware, blue, my favorite color, blue, the color of Gabriel, whose energy that I carry. Also, talking about how my voice activates myself. Yes, sometimes it does that for others as well, but just speaking out loud to myself, singing out loud to myself does something, right? Wow. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this reading if you happened upon it. If there was I'm sure there must be something here for you, or you wouldn't have, come and take a listen. So I know it's been huge for me. I can't help but see all of the beautiful synchronicities that are involved in all of this for myself, for my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, for my other collaborator here on New Light Streaming Love, Crystal Hempill, or otherwise known as Journey Into It. So I will also say, and I want to point everyone to New Light Streaming Love it's www.knewlightstreaming.love. Go to the website, follow the links for the Journey Into It. If you are so inclined, you have a need for a gift, for a friend, for yourself, for anything, take a look at what Crystal has been doing. Join us because at some point she and I are going to do a live shopping something or other. We need to do some things to raise funds for her. She is going to be going through some more spinal surgery. May 19th is the date of that. And so very soon, I'm not quite sure what all we need to do or that we can do. And I'm open to hearing from any of you for ideas of what we can do, what you would like to see, what you would take a part of. Um, you know, I am a beyond quantum healing practitioner, a BQH practitioner. I'm happy to do a session for donation that I will then also send to Crystal. So there's lots of different things that we can do. And I'd love to hear from you guys. What would you like to see? What would you guys participate in to assist her? Because we don't have any idea how long she won't be able to work, but she is a single mom. And so there are bills that will have to be paid. And I would love to assist her in that and volunteer myself in service to her in any way that I can. So hit me up if you've got some ideas. I'm going to offer it again. Andres is here now, and Mark is here now, and they've both received gifts from me. Anyone who wishes to send any sort of donation or love offering for any one of the gifts that I've ever given, I would so happily receive that and pass it along to her so that she can continue to make sure her bills are paid for herself and her children while she is unable to work. So hit me up for the ways to do that. I will. This live will be uploaded to Sassy Seer Sheila, and you will find links within that where you can donate directly to Crystal, and all of that is very appreciated. If you would prefer to receive a gift for your love offering, that's fine too. And if you can think of, so you want a reading with me, you want a BQH session with me, you want one of those blueprints packages that I set up, anything like that, I do all of that again for love offerings that will go to her. So I hope, and that kind of thing absolutely brings me joy. So I will say again, I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. And now I want to cry for some reason because that is your mission. You will find your mission. That's how I found mine. And all of this brings me joy. So until we meet again, my friends, mwah, be well.